Welcome to Choices Global, a production of First Assembly of God, LNP Durban Street, Workmanville. We thank you for joining us for the second installment of Cognitive Wellness, a Path to Mental Balance with Morris Mackenzie. Cognitive psychotherapy, a cornerstone of modern mental health care, offers individuals the tools and strategies to navigate the intricate landscape of their thoughts, emotions, and behavior. Today, we will unlock the secrets of this therapeutic approach, understanding how it can empower individuals to overcome challenges, build resilience, and lead more fulfilling lives. Mental health is an integral part of our overall well being, and yet it remains one of the most misunderstood and stigmatized aspects of our lives. Through this discussion, we aim to shatter the barriers of silence and ignorance surrounding mental health issues and engage in an open, honest, and constructive dialogue. We have with us again Minister Morris Mackenzie, and he's going to share with us mental health, talking about cognitive behavior, and most of all, resilience. So stay with us. But I wanted to talk a little bit. You talk about children. I think it was a week ago, or 2 weeks ago. As you know, as a man of many talents and master puppeteer, surely you have some wisdom for developing the right mindset in children. Can you tell our audience a bit more about your passion for Sunday school, your study of the mind, and how we can start with our children and youth?
Good. Well, I got into puppetry by accident. There was a pastor at our church, Pastor Derek Holder. He wouldn't mind me saying this, but he's one of the greatest puppeteers ever. I don't know how people make me synonymous with puppets when he's the guy that's really the talent. So, Pastor Derek, I ask your forgiveness. It's not my fault. I didn't do it. So one day, he used to have me helping out with the puppets, and I never took any notice. I just did what he said. And then one day there was somebody wanted puppet show and sent to our church and said, they're ready. They've already made arrangements to have this show.
Mhm.
And can I come and do it? And I thought, well, I don't know what I'm going to do because I don't do puppets. I just help the guy. Anyhow, I decided to do it, but I thought it was a disaster. But everybody was laughing and cheering on. I thought something's wrong here. But long and short of it now, because I know I'm on the program here, is that within the next week or so, four people wrote to our church or asked me to do it. And I told
Wow.
them, oh, I don't do it. But this is what happened. And they said, yeah, go and do exactly what you did. And then I realized the value of it in
Yes.
Sunday school also, because my
Yeah.
passion for Sunday school stems from when I went to Sunday school and the things I learned. And I found
Hmm.
those things really served me well in life because the lessons taught in Sunday school and the application in real life
Hmm.
is a fantastic foundation for children. And so,
Yes.
if we want to change mindsets of people, we need to start early. If you want a
Start right.
gymnast, you can't wait until the person's 25. You need to start when they're a baby and
Oh,
molding
yes.
them. It's similar. Yeah. So my
Hmm.
passion for Sunday school stems from the fact that I can see this as a means of molding minds for the next generation. And if we start at this level, we can also target the parents because when the parents see the output in their children,
Correct.
they will notice. And people are
Yes.
always proud of themselves and their
Hmm.
offspring. So I think we can do it like that. And to mold the minds, people don't understand. These Sunday school teachers, you need to understand you're in ministry. You have the
Hmm.
one of the greatest ministries of molding the minds of people for our next generation. You shouldn't take it lightly. But of course, if you yourself isn't at that stage of the mind of Christ, you're going to give what you have. And what you have
Correct.
more than likely will be good enough for that particular moment. But if you
Hmm.
informed yourself a bit more, you could give more.
Definitely, definitely. And I believe, we mentioned Sunday school, but if we multiply that across the nation, whether it's Guyana or even the developed nations, we start in the schools. We connect with our youths and our children in the school system. Wherever we meet children, I believe that will create a ripple effect and a change society, because I remembered a lot of I remember a lot of things I learned at primary school when we did gardening, or when we helped children cross the street. We understood looking left and right and looking right again. And we learned those things as children, and they've remained with us as adults. So I really do like the input of teaching our children from a very early age. And we're
I
going to talk a little bit about your relocation, because we have a diaspora ministry now, and we have a lot of persons joining us from the diaspora. Your personal experience, can you share with us relocating from Guyana to the UK, including pivoting across several disciplines of study on your journey to becoming a behavioral and cognitive psychotherapist, working and living in the UK? Can you tell us about a little bit about your journey, including trauma and triumphs, so that persons who are listening, especially from the diaspora, can and who may be struggling in their career, adapting to a new country after relocation? Can you share a little bit of your experiences?
Yeah, yeah, gladly. I had loads of qualification in marketing and management and industrial relations, sociology, these things. I never had anything to do with nursing and mental health. So when I had the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to study in the United Kingdom, I was going to study to be an acute nurse, and I did a
Mm-hmm.
fantastic job in getting there. I really liked
Mm-hmm.
it, but somehow it didn't ignite that fire in me. But I thought, yeah, I'm doing really well with this. That's okay.
Got
And
you.
then
Mm-hmm.
a matron told me when I was about to graduate. She said, I think you are missing your calling here.
Mm.
And I didn't understand why, because she said, you've got a lot of people always queuing up here every day. Look at that lineup. We have 5 or 6 people. You're talking to them about mental health. They're bringing the family and whatever. How is this going to work out? So I didn't think
Mm-hmm.
much about it. But when we in the faculty met, I ended up switching over to mental health and did exceptionally well in it, even though I really, because I realized I was actually doing this all along, even at church. I mean, older
Yes.
people would come to me and I would advise them or discuss matters with them that were really personal. So I was doing this thing a long
Mm-hmm.
time ago. And then also,
Got you.
Pastor, I am sure he wouldn't mind me saying this, Bishop Messiah was quite an
Mm-hmm.
inspirational person. And when I was
Mm-hmm.
about to go, I raised the same question: how am I going to adapt and do this when I was only doing the exact opposite? And he said to me, Maurice, with the mind you've got, you could change disciplines 1,000 a time and it wouldn't do anything. So when I had an interview with the university and they asked me the same question, I told them the same answer. I said, this guy told me with my mind and I can change anything, and they were impressed. I got some experience and learned, but it was difficult because
Mm-hmm.
I had to see a whole new discipline, be in a whole new
Mm-hmm.
environment, and then I had a kind of personality which I do have, which is kind of forthright and really expressive. So I don't suffer from any complexes really. So this sort of I had to really learn tact and diplomacy because
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Hey, this will go a long way because you might have all the skill in the world. You don't know how to negotiate emotions and minds of people. You're gonna be stuck, man. So I had to learn this whole new thing, and see, not saying exactly what I wanted to say. Then I learned to say that in the nicest way. So now I can say anything, and most people understand and not get angry with me. But the journey was exceptionally difficult because there were so many obstacles put in my way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even now, things happen in that way, which we can't help. One thing I can give, one advice I can give anybody, or I can share, I can suggest, is if you understand your goals,
Mm-hmm.
if you know what you want to achieve, live according to this creed that I live by. If anything or anybody detracts me from my course of duty, they've got too much power over me. And they can only get power over you in two ways. They can get power consciously, you can give it away, or unconsciously in ignorance you didn't know. Now that I know, I don't argue or dispute it with you. I take it back immediately. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying to you, if you've got your goals, understand this mind of Christ also. You will suffer as a Christian. What do you expect? You think it's a bed of roses? People need to be pragmatic. You expect to be doing
Yeah.
something good, and then the devil's gonna leave you alone and say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you go along and be very fine, sir. We want to see the
Mm-hmm.
world change for good. You're wrong. He's gonna oppose you at
Mm-hmm.
every juncture.
Correct.
So
Yes, yes, yes.
get it clear in your head. Your
Mm-hmm.
problems you're facing isn't a reflection of you. It's an opposition to who operates in you.
Got you. Got you. Got you. Got you. Yes. Um, quite a lot. And I'm hearing as you're speaking, as individuals, we do need to take ownership, ownership of our lives and the processes that relates to them. But as we begin to explore a little more of the mind and trauma, a critical aspect is reintegration. And as a society, we struggle to support and reintegrate persons with mental health issues or other traumas, including persons previously incarcerated. What is your take on how we return persons to a nurturing community and become our brother's keeper? And what role can church programs play or the church play in this process?
Well, the Bible says you need to learn to forgive, you need to
Mm-hmm.
love. And again, if we have this mind of Christ, which is saying, I need to treat people as I would like to be treated, we will
Mm-hmm.
give people the benefit of the doubt.
Correct.
I mean, if a person is having mental health issues, we as Christians supposed to be very compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to display empathy.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be non-judgmental. We're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
actively listen. And these are qualities of a good therapist or somebody who's practicing uh, therapy. And you don't have to be a therapist to do that, to have these qualities. These are Christian qualities. So
Mm-hmm.
the first thing we need to do, especially if a person is having mental health problems, understand the problem first. We start with psychoeducation in any
Mm-hmm.
treatment plan, and that's getting the client to understand what the issues are or what the issue is. And
Mm-hmm.
it might surprise you if you knew some things about what's happening, it will change your perspective. Because,
Correct.
again, like I said, people are not really mad all the time, or what you call mad. You need to understand this. A person may have, when you have mental health issues, you're basically unable to, or you're making wrong choices in thinking, feeling, and behaving. And you tell
Mm-hmm.
me, if that's what mental illness is constituted of, how many people can tell me that they have not made errors in their thinking, feeling, and behaving? So we've all done it
Mm-hmm.
before. Just that some people, what they do, they ruminate on negative things, and that's what the cause of depression. So they're looking backwards. And the
Mm-hmm.
people who
Mm-hmm.
look forwards suffer from anxiety because they catastrophize things. They
Yes.
forget, most people forget that we need to live in the present.
Mm-hmm.
Even God
Mm-hmm.
tells you, don't look back and say that those were the good old days, because you're saying things can't change. If you're thinking so you're longing for as Lot's wife
Something that's
was,
gone. Mm-hmm.
it's gone, can't come back. And what are you worried about?
Correct.
What's going to come? It hasn't even arrived. How do you know it will? So a
True.
man said, a man said, today is a present because it's a gift from God. It's always the present. So what do you do with
Mm-hmm.
presents? You open it, you
You
enjoy
open
it.
them. You
Me,
enjoy
I
them.
ring, I ring every minute out of the day. I am happy 24/7. I was told I even laugh in my sleep. I can't be bothered. I'm happy.
Excellent, excellent,
So
Morris.
you,
I
so
have
you
a
have to
question.
tell people you need to, if a person has committed a crime and they've served their time, don't you think that you need to give them a chance? So what's the point of sending them to prison then? If
Yes.
they're gonna do their time and you're still gonna hold them accountable
Hold it to
all
the
the time.
past.
Well,
Yes.
what we could
Yes.
do is create cities of refuge, like in the Bible. Yeah, we can say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is a city here that only people who nobody trusts can go into. I guarantee if you did that, I'm not saying that you should. If you did that, some of those minds, once they're changed by Christ, you might want to go in there yourself, and then you might not get a chance because it might be that prosperous.
Oh my goodness. What an excellent conversation we're having. But I have one question here from the audience, another question. How can we cultivate a mindset that is different from the world view and be comfortable operating on a different level?
Yeah, that's easy. All you need to do is start getting saved. You got to be saved first. If, if you're born again, you're on a different
Yes.
level anyway. Because, and secondly, if you're born again, you need to start to develop these virtues that the Bible speaks of. And you have to look at, I think it's Philippians 4:8, or is which one that says, you should think on
Think
certain things.
yes,
Whatsoever
yes,
things are
uh-huh.
pure, for it, whatsoever
Pure,
things
yeah.
are pure, honest, just, yeah, you know the whole thing. Because even Jesus, I didn't see quote out everything and tell you where the part in the
Mm-hmm.
scripture was. So don't blame
Yeah.
me if I. But the point is, you need to be able to set your mind on certain things, and if you understand, he that is
Mm-hmm.
within you is greater than
Mm-hmm.
he that is in the world, you wouldn't
Correct.
have a problem because you will
Yes.
be standing with Christ. There
Mm-hmm.
isn't a greater mentality than the mentality of Christ or the mind of
Yes.
Christ. So
Yes.
you can stand alone, but you're not standing alone because your boast and your confidence is in God.
Is in Christ.
That's what
Yes.
keeps me. There are lots of things
Mm-hmm.
I might be saying here. People might listen and think, what does he think he is? I'll simply say, oh, it's who do I think I am? I am Maurice Mackenzie. That is it. So to see how easy I answer that question, you can decide
Philippians
what
4.
you want to make
Yeah.
me.
And that, exactly. And the scripture you referenced, Philippians 4, it finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things.
You
Indeed.
can't get depressed when you
And
think that.
exactly, exactly. You cannot get depressed. You cannot become, oh, wondering as guess, thinking about the past and also thinking and worrying about what hasn't yet arrived. But as we come to, we're coming down to the end of our session today. Um, we want to just briefly look at resilience. What is your definition of resilience, which goes beyond bouncing back and strangely suggests that staying in the situation that stresses is part of this? Unpack your brand of resilience.
Yeah, I think with resilience, people understand resilience. I usually use an analogy with You know the duck's back? The duck
Mm-hmm.
has
Mm-hmm.
feathers, and they go down in size and smallness and function. So the broader ones are kind of oil coated, and so what
Mm-hmm.
happens with a duck when rain falls? It's not that water isn't going through those feathers, but
Mm-hmm.
before it gets to the body of the duck, the senses are telling it, and it shakes it off. But the
Correct.
duck stays out in the water. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he'll stay right
Mm-hmm.
in that rain or water, and he is at home. So my brand of
Yes.
resilience is this: it's not just the ability to bounce back from problems quicker or quickly. It's the ability to understand and recognize that by staying in the problem if it needs it, because all problems don't just come and just disappear. Some of them
Correct.
take time. You might be in an environment or a situation that you can't come out of just like that. What are you going to
Mm-hmm.
do? So, resilience would say, look, you need to be able to recognize that
Mm-hmm.
staying in the problem is beneficial because it's developing qualities in your mentality and psyche that
Mm-hmm.
otherwise could not be developed. So people seem to, I say the best thing to do is to redefine what you call uncomfortable. Uncomfortable to most people is to be shunned, is to be avoided. For me, I say uncomfortable is telling you you're out of your comfort zone, get used to this, and that will become comfortable. So you can
Mm-hmm.
stay in the
Mm-hmm.
problem because the trial of your faith, work at patience.
Work at
You need to
patience. Yes.
understand you can't just come out of everything just like that. That's the
Mm-hmm.
mentality we have, this instant coffee mentality, where we just plug something in here. Look, nowadays, the quest is even going further. You want your phone charged. First, you used to have to take a long time. Now they got chargers and give you half an hour. You get a whole thing charged. You're going to get 15 minutes. Soon you'll just maybe look at it and it's going to charge itself. That's what we. So listen, my plan is simple. If you're going to have understand resilience, don't stop at the bit that says I can bounce back quickly, because there may be times when you can't get out that quickly. Then you need to do what Christ says. You must count it all a joy.
When you fall
Your
into
suffering
diverse
must not be
temptation.
seen
Yeah.
as a reflection that you are bad. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
every Christian will be bad. Does that make sense?
True.
So you got to
Correct.
stay in the problem sometimes. We sugarcoat things and tell people, "Oh no, God is going to deliver you tomorrow." Yeah, of course, but you and God got two different ideas about tomorrow. So it's tomorrow might be 2 years. What are you going to do?
Oh dear. Can you, as we wrap up and we talk about resilience, but if it's okay, without sharing too much personal details, any your success stories or case study related to clients who've experienced positive changes in their thought patterns and behaviors through behavioral therapy.
Yeah, I've got loads of them. In fact, anybody listening to this and knows me would agree. I'm very successful with what I do, and I think that's because of the
Mm-hmm.
anointing of God. And so
Mm-hmm.
there are people, and loads of them come to mind. But I remember this was even, oh, I'll tell you one about the actual success. I met an atheist, and he had some problems. This person had some problems um, of the mind. And remember,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about getting people to recognize that the issue is their thoughts and their perspective on things, not the situation. So this person had some problems, and they came to me,
Mm-hmm.
and they were in the worst condition ever, because some people can get to a point where there is no hope and they want to kill themselves. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, I can't do therapy and force Christianity on people. That's not what it is. I just have to do the therapy. So I remember this person was really depressed, severely depressed to the point of,
Mm-hmm.
wanting to commit suicide. And I simply, what I do is normalize. People don't
Mm-hmm.
realize normalization is a massive tool. Jesus practiced it. I always use this one. He's sleeping in a storm. And what do you call that? To him, it's normal because the
Normal.
storm can harm
Mhm.
him. But to the others, it wasn't. See the mindset?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
long and short of it is, this person has been able to see, they were able to see that the mind is the battlefield, and they were locked in prison by their own mind and their
Mm-hmm.
perspectives on things. And we taught them differently, and now they can exercise choice, which God had originally given to man. But depression doesn't
Correct.
give you that choice, it takes it from you,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
anxiety and all these issues. And this
Correct.
person was able to right now live a life. They're living their lives normally better than before
Mm.
they met me. So I usually say when people meet me, whatever you were telling me was before the revolution. Today is after the revolution. So if you're
Revolution.
listening to my voice, if you got all sorts of problems, trust me, that was before the revolution. Today is after the revolution. So this person has come back better than they were before being ill.
Before. Yes. 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 We have a final question, and this will be part of as you wrap up as well. Your general principles one can adopt in the family to eliminate or minimize mental stress in various situations, and especially dealing with, like, parents dealing with ailing children, special needs children, children who have displayed behavioral issues. What are some of the practical solutions for families, and your final thoughts?
Okay. So my practical solutions for families in that situation is very simple, or maybe not. But basically, it's understanding what is happening. I don't know
Mm,
how people can mistake this as a first step. If I saw something happening to my or something's happening to my car, we'll need to understand what it is before we can fix it.
mm-hmm.
Otherwise, what we're going
Correct.
to be fixing. So it's practical. But we need to understand ourselves first, because we are going to react in ways that are not um, good for well-being, when we need
Mm-hmm.
to learn to respond to situation instead of just react.
Correct.
So
Yes.
understanding what is happening, but most importantly, understanding yourself and the general
Mm-hmm.
principles that would be necessary in any situation. So in families, I think families don't understand sometimes the roles of persons in the family. So the father
Mm-hmm.
sometimes wants to be the best friend when he should be a
Hmm.
parent, or the mother.
Parent.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can't be the best friend all the time, because if you're the best friend, that's why sometimes when you have to do things secularly, they ask you if there is a conflict of interest because they know what
Mm-hmm.
was going to happen, you see. So
Correct. Correct.
when you in the family, everybody must understand their role.
No.
That
Yeah.
that's the parents' job, to let
Mm-hmm.
children know what children should be doing and how children should be
Correct.
responding. Even the Bible tells
Definitely.
you this. The father should not provoke the children to anger, and the
To
children
Ralph.
should be
Yeah.
obedient. So you have to teach
Correct.
these things practically. And when you get to places where things are not going according to the norm,
Mm-hmm.
instead of making the child feel abnormal, let the behavior be seen as abnormal.
Normal.
Because
Not
the
the
child is
person.
wonderfully and fearfully made. How is he
Made.
going to be
Correct.
abnormal?
Correct.
So even if he's got deficits or difficulties, whether it's learning, behavior, etc., concentrate on facts, concentrate on the issues. Don't be
Mm-hmm.
attacking the person.
Got you. Mm-hmm.
Deal with the behavior. Cognitive behavior therapy. or therapy in the whole is trying to get people to change positively, cognitively, which is
Mm-hmm.
the thinking and feeling, and behaviorally. So sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you need to decide which one will be necessary. So maybe you might
Gotcha.
have to find a way of the
Preference.
behavioral
Mm-hmm.
to inform, just like the people on
Yes.
the roads. If you don't find a behavior modification, which is either finding these people, seizing the vehicles, suspending a license, you are not going to get any cognitive change
No. No.
because I can do what I
Correct.
want. There are no consequences.
There are no
See what I mean?
consequences. Yes.
So the family must understand their role and then they must practice and model it. And when it doesn't
Yes.
go right, don't make it abnormal. Normalize it and say, look, this is the norm. This
Mm-hmm.
is what it should quickly, just to illustrate it. Somebody told me a story one time, somewhere in one of these big developing countries, they had a massive problem with counterfeit money. And they spent millions or billions on fixing or getting people to learn how to identify the counterfeit money. And one guy came up with a brilliant idea one day. He says, oh, we're wasting money. Why don't we concentrate on the real money and learn that? So any counterfeit comes after can't match the real one. Yeah? Brilliant idea. Same thing I say. Don't model the negative. Model the positive. The child sees that. But instead,
Mm-hmm.
when you pay attention to the negatives and stress and abnormalize, whatever, you're making a big problem. Just like a child
Yes.
who's actually, I know I'm finishing now. He uses a
Yes.
swear word. You make a big deal of it. No, you normalize. You get them to see the positive.
Thank you so much, Morris, for your time and for sharing and for being so transparent with us today, dealing with the mind. And to our live audience, thank you so much for joining us today on Choices Global. As we wrap up this enlightening journey through the realm of cognitive wellness, we hope you've gained valuable insights and tools to pave your path towards mental balance. Remember, your mind is a precious garden, and nurturing it is key to a fulfilling life. Join us again on Choices Global, and remember it always, always, always be kind. Thank you for joining us.